All right, now we're live.
Are we ready? Are we ready to go?
We're ready. We got
All
yeah.
right. All right. So what's going on, everybody? The Devin the Gamer is back. Welcome. My main man in crime right here. He is fashionably late, but that's okay. Normally it's always me, but this time I have to throw him under the bus because that's what I do.
Hey man,
Anyway, what's going on with you, Don?
man, what goes around comes around, right?
Exactly.
It's all good. I was working on some stuff behind the scenes for Devin the Gamer. You see some of the new highlights dancing underneath our names right now, and there's going to be more coming down the road there. So
Nice. Excellent. That's good news. Oh, by the way, now I'm having some issues with my mic. Hopefully, it's going to work fine. If not, please let me know. Let us know in the chat, and I will definitely just shake it.
So when
kind of what's going on.
when it cuts out on him, we'll just do
Okay. That will
that'll get it done.
That'll get it done. All right,
cool.
Then I'll just shake it a little bit. All right, so anyway, so what's been going on, Don? What games you've been playing, or have you just been so busy because you've had other things that's going on, like real adult stuff going on? Have you had any time to play anything?
Man, there's too much adult, not enough playing right now in my life. But all the adult stuff will allow me to play more and realize my dreams even more. So it's just hard growing up stuff. Sometimes you got to do it and get it out of the way. But yeah, outside of that, playing a little, what is it, Outriders?
Yes.
Doing a little bit of that. You and I have been playing together and kind of leapfrogging one another a little bit on the progress. So yeah, that's been a lot of fun. That's actually been a surprise. I didn't know if I was gonna like it as much as I did, and I'm really digging it. So
yeah, no, I don't know. You're a little different sometimes because I try to read you on what games that you might like and what games you might not.
Oh yeah,
and
that's
I was
a
kind
tough
of
one.
Yeah, and so I was like, you know what? Something tells me if it had, because I have a feeling that it has a little bit of Anthem in it, plus of Division and other games as well. But that Anthem thing might be the trick to get some back.
It
might get them to play it.
You know what? It reminds me more of I'm trying to remember the name of the game on the 360. It was third person. It was done by Capcom. Lost Planet. It reminds me a lot of Lost Planet mixed in with Division and Destiny. That's probably the best way I would describe that game. And I wasn't so much worried about the play mechanics or anything like that. It's just like, do I want to get involved in another looter game? You know what I mean? That was the discouraging part of it. Those sort of things, because it's a catch-22, man. Like, we all got so much time in the world, in life, and just did I have enough time to do it and get it done? And that was the part I was wondering in regards to all that sort of stuff. So looks like it worked out, and I'm enjoying it up to this point. I don't know if there's going to be much in-game stuff after it's all said and done, if there's raids or anything like that, but we seem to be having a good crew to roll around with, which is kind of the trouble with a lot of looter shooters too. Mm-hmm. They're only as good as the people you play with, right? You can make the coolest game in the world, but the missing piece of that puzzle is your friends and who you hang out with, and that's what kind of makes or breaks those games and makes them special. And it's starting to hit that crest where a lot of people are playing it, everyone's enjoying it. No one's it's not about getting it out for themselves. It's more about just enjoying the experience. And so sometimes that's the beauty of like a new community and a new game that brings to the table. So I hope it continues to go that way. I think gamers, as the kind of these looter games kind of come and go, they're gonna remember the good times and they're gonna remember the bad times, and sometimes the good time is what gamers make of it and who they hang out with. So
no doubt. And Core, I'm glad that you're here because I found some information for you. I don't know if you found out about it yet, but to switch your a lot of the things, because I know that you're playing it with off of the mouse and keyboard, Outriders, it said the middle mouse button does quite a few things. Like I think it switches over from your right to your left. It also do some other things as well. So check that out when the next time you play Outriders and hit that middle mouse button. I have no idea what that button would be. I guess that would, I don't know. I got like, whoa, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the little ball. So I have no idea.
Sometimes the wheel is a button on certain mouses.
Right.
So.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So what up, Yobi? But so yeah. So I mean, as for me, I mean, I know life did last night because
have you finished
Buddha
the story?
hit me up. No, not yet. No.
Okay.
Buddha hit me up. He wanted to play for a little bit. Then I came out there with Black Knight. That's what it's.
All right.
Because I can get him and Primal Data. Yeah, him and Primal Data. I don't know why I get, because their names are completely different, but still.
They totally sound different on the mic too. They talk about different shit.
What's going on? But still, regardless. But anyway, we came in and we played for a while. There was some really, really tough parts. It was. But yeah, me and him got through it, and then he wrapped it up, and then I started playing when I got up. Made a couple of adult things happen with calls and things like that, and then I went ahead and you know what, I got the time. Let's play. So yeah, I played and got pretty far. So yeah, so I guess we're going to be jumping on your game and then catching you up. So
the first thing I'm doing, I have to wrap up a bunch of stuff from work that I didn't get caught up on, and maybe do some additional stuff for Devin the Gamer tonight. But I'm going to get all that shit done. So as soon as I go to bed, I wake up in the morning. I may be even rolling with the same shirt when I wake up here, and I'm going to be playing some games. So I'm
no doubt. Hey, well,
I'm ready to go.
Hear me. Yeah. I'm free. I did some stuff. I had to do some things for my mother.
I'll just send you an invite, and the party will be open. Same routine.
Yeah,
So.
I'll be there. So
all right, cool.
Go ahead and do it. So, all right. So let's get right into it. Very first topic, I want to talk about Xbox Live. Gold. Okay, so basically, I know that we haven't really talked about Xbox Live Gold because Game Pass has been the new sensation for Xbox. But it's still a thing. And a lot of people have been talking about how they are, the games are lackluster, the games just aren't good enough. So basically what people want them to do is just pretty much just get rid of Xbox Live Gold games. Or I should say Xbox Network, since they're going to change that to Xbox Network. But
yeah,
what is your thoughts about this? Because to me personally, free games are free games. And in some of those games, it usually one of those games that is maybe something that's been on the radar or something that I've never played before, and it's like, you know what? Let me give it a try, and then I find out I like it. So I don't know. I still feel that there's some importance
value
to it. Yeah, some value because they're free games. I mean, I understand that they're not on the same tier as what PSN Network games are, because they've stepped up their game quite a bit here I would say for the last 2 years. But to me, it's still relevant. What do you think about that?
It obviously needs a revamp if they're going to keep the same model to some degree. But I've here's the thing. Xbox Live, I pay for a year, I forget about it, and then my service runs out, and I wonder why my shit doesn't work, and then then I re-up it, right? I mean, that's all I do, and I don't think about it for another year. I mean, there's some years I've done it for 2 years at a time. So definitely I get the whole service model, but I don't think the service model is it's dated. Obviously they have some sort of plans for it. I just don't know what the big plan. What is the big game? What is the in game for Phil and the team and everybody else that's involved? And I just don't know. So it's hard to kind of give suggestions. Do this, do that, because I want to know. They obviously have plans. I don't want to know where that goes. And too often at times, I think sometimes the gaming community will speak up and ruin stuff for themselves sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then they, will pat themselves on the back and say, hey, good job. Now, because of this, we got this. Well, do you really know what they were going to do otherwise? Was it going to be a net positive? I just don't know. So I know Xbox has got a plan, but I just don't know what that plan is. And I'm hoping we just wait with a little bit of bated breath and see what their goals are. Obviously, Xbox, we'll just call it live for now because the network thing is just confusing right now. Xbox Live is, it's real simple to understand. You pay, you go online, you get a couple free games. And sometimes there's something you like, sometimes there's something you don't. I don't know. I mean, I just, I joke around. I download the free games with gold for my unborn children. so when it comes time when they, hey, I want a game, no, you got a whole entire gold library to play through before,
right. Oh man, you got
to get a new game.
yeah, you got to earn it. Yes. Walk the ladder, child.
And then I, obviously I buy my games, and if they do the chores, and then you know how that will go. But that's the way I kind of look at it in regards to. But it does need a revamp. It's looking a little stale in the tooth, and to be honest with you, even though Sony's been doing a little bit better with, I feel like games I'm more interested on what they get free with the service, or comes with the service, I should say, complimentary. I think Sony does really do a better job of making games or providing games that I actually care about. But even theirs is, it's looking a little stale, just like Xbox. I just don't think the format really works anymore, and so I'm just kind of curious where they're going to go with it.
I didn't know what your take was going to be on it, but I don't know. I just feel like there's just value. I don't know. It's one of those things where you find a diamond in the rough, and no, there won't be significant games all the time, but to me, it's just, but if there was, during the 360 era, there was a lot of games that I didn't get a chance to play at that time. So when I see something that like I may have seen back in the days, and I'm like, man, I would, want to, buy it, or I wasn't going to trust trading some other games in for that particular game. So it's good to see that those games pop up. I don't know. It's just, I just feel like it's kind of like what you was alluding to is like, people keep asking for this to go away, but then when it does, because I do eventually think that they'll just go strictly with Game Pass. Or kind of combine the two. Xbox Network into whatever Pass. I guess Game Pass is still going to
like a lump sum.
Yeah, like a lump sum. But there's going to be that one or two individuals that's going to start complaining about, well, what happened to that? I did like my free games. Well, you were probably at one particular time with that group that was saying, you know what, these games suck, these games need to go away, they need to just get rid of it. So I just be prepared for that to happen. But I think that they are going to probably get rid of it, unfortunately, but I'm not going to ever downplay or down talk free games. I'm not. I don't think that there's really no reason for it.
You and I both grew up in a generation of I don't know, I wasn't in a rich family growing up, and you expressed, right. You're able to eat, but you just couldn't have whatever you want. You couldn't have whatever you wanted. You know what I mean? At any given moment in time. So, a lot of times we grew up in that generation of rentals and things like that, and maybe by the time the generation's over, you had 10 games, which is kind of laughable now because we do more than that in a month.
Oh my God! I just,
you know what I mean?
So
I, to me, in the same way too. Like I don't want it, I don't want it to go away in the sense that, but I'm also embracing change, right? Like if the change is for, is there a net positive that comes along with whatever they're going to do? I am totally open to whatever they have planned. So, in regards to that, because I think on the surface, a lot of times Microsoft gets in a weird space where they have the best intentions, but sometimes people don't understand what they're trying to do. And I think this is one of those times that no one really sees it coming, except for the people that are really much in the know. And even then, we'll see where it goes.
Yeah. And I see Cali Rex, he's stressing this point. So I'll just go ahead and
yeah.
He said that again, they aren't actually free. Look at the Epic Games actual free games. You just claim them. I think these services are just giving bonuses, subs. Okay, so the one thing about the Epic games is that
it's subsidized. is what he's
You
saying.
know, but you have to have the service, the Epic service on,
Hmm.
in order for you to play those games. So it's not so it's the same thing. It's just different. Um, you have to activate the account, your account, and then when you want to go and play those games, you do. So it's just like with Grand Theft Auto 5, because I remember I've got a couple of games off of, but every time that I want to go to those particular games, um, every time, boom, the Epic app has to be uploaded. So, and then usually there's always a download, something like that. So I've seen why there was a lot of Steam fans that didn't really like that. And then of course that there's another group that don't even like Steam or Epic Games because of the fact that the DRM aspect of it or whatever. And I can't
Yeah.
really think it's green something. I can't think the actual name of that. Those games that you get off there, you don't have they're uh, DRM free. But I think that's just with everything. And listen, they're still considered free to me because I didn't spend any money for it except for look. And again, it's different for me because I got my Xbox Live extended for almost 4 years for
Nice.
free when I went to E3. They were just handing out cards. They were handing out like game. They were handing out Xbox Live just cards like crazy.
So Kamiya just
So,
walked around with his hand out, just like whatever drops
oh
in
no, no,
here,
no, no, no.
I'm
Like, okay,
cool.
no,
I'm
you
cool.
still no, it was cool because what they would do is like when you went to the event, they would because I remember watching the Sea of Thieves. They had a band that was playing Sea of Thieves music, and so there would somebody walk up to you and they say, "Oh, you play Sea of Thieves?" I say, "Yeah, I play Sea of Thieves." And so they'll ask you like trivia questions, and if you get so many questions right, they'll give you a card. And then sometimes they'll be generous and they'll give you, if you got all the questions right, they give you like 4 cards. And so like when you go in there and you played Gears, they give you a card. You played Forza, they give you a card. You played
Oh,
uh
got you.
but
So
I was playing a lot of Bleeding Edge. So I got tons of cards for that. And then I'm playing Madden. I mean, so it was just yeah, like so like they were just giving out cards like crazy. So when I put it in, there was one card would be for a month. There was other cards that was for a year. There was another card that was
just
for
give you a
6
code
months.
so you don't know what they
Yeah, they
were.
were just they were scratch offs.
Yeah,
So
gotcha.
so it was just one of those things. And so everybody who went to the Microsoft Center out there and attended the
Man, what a cool way
Xbox
to
thing, they did
promote
it
somebody and get people stoked to A, play the game, B, kind
right.
of reward them and
Other
that
than
sort of
low
thing.
sync, yeah,
Yeah, I think
right,
that's cool. I think that's really a pro way to go about it. I guess we're
right.
gonna have to be talking about E3 soon, aren't
Right,
we?
and that's going to be something that we're going to be talking about. So it's almost a good segue. But I do have to say this. That's Cali Rex. What are you saying? He said, "Yo, by the way, K Mega, what's your opinion on Quantum Break? Overall, trying to buy Alan Wake and Quantum Break on my PC. What? Okay, all right. Okay, so let me read that
I
again.
was reading it, but I
By
was a
the
little
way,
confused too.
yeah, he says, what's your opinion on Quantum Break overall? I'm
Oh, just the
trying to
game by
buy
itself.
Alan Wake and Quantum Break on my PC. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I had to
Yeah,
separate.
so
All right.
I want to tell you right now, don't sleep on
Mhm.
Quantum Break. If you haven't played it, you are in for a treat. In
Yes.
regards to that, here's the thing: anyone that's played the new Outriders game and plays what is the trickster that I am, a lot of
Mhm.
people get that vibes of Quantum Break when you play
Yes.
that character. So yeah, Quantum Break it will stick in your brain if you play it for sure. And it's just a good story related, just kind of a story filled game. And I don't know what enhancements they did on the PC, but I heard they put some effort into it. So definitely pick it up. And what was the other one? Was it
Alan
Alan
Wake.
Wake? Yeah, Alan Wake didn't. Yeah, I don't do spooky. So yeah, yeah, I don't know if I have a good
Say that
suggestion on
again.
that
You
one.
don't do what,
I
Don?
don't do spooky. I don't do
Oh,
spooky.
okay. All right.
Yeah. No, no, no,
Yeah.
no,
All
no,
right.
no, 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 no,
So
no,
I
no.
mean, I don't do like crazy games more like that anymore. I mean, Alan Wake was it had a creep factor. Um, But games that I used to play, I used to be crazy over horror games. Man, I went away. Condemn was the last one that I played, and then I was cool with it. I didn't beat it, but it was cool. And then I went back and I tried to play um, Resident Evil. What was it? I played Resident Evil 5. Beat that, but but I didn't find that to be scary or chilling or anything like that. But Resident Evil 7, I went back to try to play that. Um, yeah, I was saying I was going to stream that with the wife, and we were going to, I was going to sit here and listen to her do some screaming, and no, I was doing, well, we both were, and I screamed like a big ass girl. Man, no, I was like, yo, I don't, I don't know about this.
I might make an exception during Halloween or something like that. Maybe I'll play a little Alan Wake just to do it. But no, yeah. If you're into
creepy, but it's not like it's not
sometimes
like
that gets stuff to me, like
chilling.
those weird bone chilling noises they do and stuff like that. It gets to me, like it.
It does do that.
Yeah. So, like when you start hearing words whisper in your ear, I'm like, oh hell no. Oh.
So
no.
what was the last scary game that you played?
Don doesn't do scary games. I don't know if you heard me.
So you never played? So you just don't play? Okay,
I'll dip my toe in. I'm like, oh hell no, I'm done.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm
I'm just not that way.
For me, no. Quantum Break was one of my favorite games last year. I still talk about it. Matter of fact, I posted something today because
it's the anniversary.
Yeah, it was the anniversary, and I think the senior producer posted something about it. I was just like, hey, it's a master. Thank you for the experience. And I would hope and pray that's how much I love that game. That Xbox and Remedy could work something out. I know it's got nothing to do with financials because Microsoft or Xbox got, but it's all about time for what Remedy is doing, because there's rumors of Remedy might be working on an exclusive game for PlayStation. Also, they're working on the Crossfire for Xbox, which is supposed to be dropping this year. So, or working on the story aspect of that
Crossfire
game.
X, right? Yeah.
Crossfire X, and then of course they're talking about making Alan Wake. So they're going to be busy. But man, I would love for them to do Quantum Break, or at least for just for the fans of that particular game, just go ahead and give us the full Series X treatment, and just let us see, because that game never got it never got optimized to where it was optimized, but I'm trying to think of the proper word for it. It never got those enhancements, I should say. Just like Rise, those games still look absolutely. To this day, I still trip about Resolution Gate and how that
it's not even a subject matter anymore.
It's such an irrelevant.
Well, it was how
topic.
I felt. How I felt about it, like early on. I'm just like, this is not graphics. It's part of it, but it's not a dictation. It's just graphics. You can't just boil down to how many pixels you have on the screen. You have to boil down some more than just that. In regards to, but on a side note, though, everyone that's been in the chat, thank you. I've been looking into what helps us grow into different areas, and interacting with the chat on Twitch helps this grow. It helps us push us out. So I appreciate any interaction with you guys there. And the same token, when this goes on K-Mega's channel, any action in the comments below will help it grow on K-Mega's channel. So all the participation you guys do is really, really helpful. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I got a little plan on that. I think I told you about it. I'm going to see, there's a little added feature that's on.
Yeah, I think that's going to help too, for sure.
So we'll see what happens. I don't know, but I'll try it when we do it. But also, I will say this: thank you guys, and thanks for the people that listen to Devin the Gamer and GRG on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud. It's pretty impressive. We've had I think it was already 55 listeners.
Nice.
It's and I just let people know about it just like a week ago. So
we're gonna roll with the links once it goes on your YouTube channel, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna put the links in there. So because I only got right now, if you go to hit my channel, you'll just see Spotify. But I gotta also put a place where I could just put all of the places where you to Devin the Gamer and
Well,
PRG.
well.
And then,
That
of
being
course, the
said,
other
though,
projects I'm working
once
on.
you provide me the links, I'll put them down on the bottom of the Twitch as well.
Okay. All right.
So if you guys are wondering, different ways to consume it, any support on any of the platforms we're at is definitely always appreciated. But we want to make sure it's easy for you guys to find it, however you need to find it, as far as links and things like that. So.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Definitely appreciate it. So yeah. That. I, just one more thing for Quantum Break. I just got to say this. If you like Control, I thought that Quantum Break for me was a better story than Control.
Did you play through Control yet?
I played for the majority of Control. I haven't actually beat the game yet. I'm gonna. It's in the backlog, ready to go.
Ooh, how far did you think you got through?
I've gotten to the part where they I got that extra gun, and the other part.
So you're like a third of the way through.
So yeah, if I'm not, if I'm thinking of yeah, because there was a crazy boss. Because there was the one boss I fought him underneath in the what's called, but that was towards the beginning, middle of the game. I thought the big guy with the guns like where all the like it was underneath. You had to go out and kill the enemy, go down there. There's a big old guy. He had a big old gun. You got to get rid of him. Then when you go up there to the floor, and then you talk to the lady, you go back, and then you got to talk to the lady again. I had to fight that boss, and so I'm thinking that I'm that boss right there.
Oh, so here's the thing, and I don't want to ruin anything for you, Mega. Whenever you get a chance to play through it, and I've said this before, Control has one of the best levels I ever played last generation. Hands down.
Yeah, you told me that the ending, or there was a part
near
that was
the end.
Crazy. I'm not towards the end yet.
You go from like it's kind of nice, kind of cool, kind of cool, kind of cool, kind of cool, to just boom, you just cranked it till your speakers are blown out, man, and you're just like, oh, I'm just hype. Oh yeah, let's go. And it's the combination of all your abilities that you learn in the game all kind of coming together in this way you never expected. And at that point to the end of the game, till you wrap it up, it sets up some cool cliffhangers and it gives you that level of depth of what's actually going on in the world, but you don't get that reward till the very end of the game. In regards to that, so depending where you play through, if you play on Quantum Break, it kind of hits you kind of hard at first, and it just kind of a slow kind of climb, and it has, it's a nice gradual climb, but it gets you to where you're hype. Where I think Control is kind of and you're barely there, and then it's a steep, just like boom.
I got so annoyed, it made me stop for a while, but then I came back and I beat that. Where you first was when you got to the part where there was the red phone in the middle of that room, but you was in a hotel. And and it took me forever to find out where the door was to go into to open up that door,
that room, because
that room at the very end. I was like,
how many times have you done that?
What, that part?
Yeah.
Oh man, I played it, and then I was going through it, and I was getting so mad. I stopped, and then I woke back.
It takes you to that hotel like 4 or 5 times. On that, 4 or 5 times you go to that hotel, and there's different puzzles.
Right.
So.
Oh, so you got to keep going back to that.
Yeah, it's tied to it. So you go to it like 4 or 5 times, and all of a sudden it pops you out somewhere else. And you're like, why am I here? What just happened, sort of thing. So
okay, so that's right, because I did go back and play. I do remember going back and doing that. See, it's been so long since I played it, I've kind of forgot everything that I've done. Because I remember when I said I got the extra gun, I got the enhancements to the gun, not the extra gun. But I got the enhancements to it because once you get past that one certain part,
they're all.
You got to go and figure out more moves and stuff like that, and then you get past that, and you talk to the lady, and So
there's only really one gun in the whole entire game. It just
but
there's enhancements for each one that gives you different abilities to the gun. So.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. But yeah, it's been over a year since I played it, so yeah, it's been a minute. So because I wanted to wait, because I was going to go back and I was going to play it. But then they talked about that they were going to get the enhancements on it. So I was like, all right, I'll wait. Then they delayed it, and then they were talking about charging the extra money for it. And I'm like,
Wow.
I'm not spending no more extra money for this. And then I did anyway when they had a sale back in $20. So I was like, so yeah, I'll definitely have to go back. Probably gonna have to start over.
You know, it's a known fact that Kamiya also falls for those sign spinners too, not just sales.
What is the sign spinners?
You know, you see on the side of the street, they're always spinning signs. Like I have one for the Little Caesars down the
Oh,
street.
yeah, oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. What's that? Hold on, wait a minute. Okay. Stop it.
Next thing you know,
Yeah,
Kamiya's buying a condo, and you never know, right? So
and so yeah, pretty much. And so also I was playing The Last of Us 2 because I went ahead and I bought Last of Us 2.
yeah, gotcha.
I have to say, um, even though I knew everything about the story, uh, sitting there and just going through the game for about an hour and 10 minutes before I got into real action was not. I'm just,
You
so I'm
you
just
don't like that long setup?
man, I'm like, and then what was crazy is because they had the same type of setup like Horizon Zero Dawn. You training somebody how to hunt, and then here you go again and you do this. And I'm not sorry, not in The Last of Us, but in God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn because I bought Horizon Zero Dawn on PC too. Now I played that on PlayStation a long time ago, but but I bought it on the PC because I wanted to see how it runs on PC, and it runs pretty good. There was a couple of little hitches and stuff like that, but I mean, I guess they patched it up for the most part. I still heard some people say that they didn't, um, but yeah, no. But it was crazy because when I started it, I forgot about the whole thing where Aloy had to or Aoi, however you say her name, she was learning how to hunt, and
You just
then
call her
like on
aloe
God of
vera.
War. Alloy, I forgot how you say her, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? No disrespect to her fans, but yeah, but it's the same way, kind of like how in God of War, how Kratos' son was hunting, and I was like, oh, but you know, there's no disrespect to the games. I'm just like, oh, that was just some, but yeah, but so I plan on streaming some single player games, so I was just trying to decide which
You just got to commit to
Horizon
one and burn through it. You know what I mean? So
The Last of Us 2. Probably the last. All right. So, since you took us off course,
hey
thank
man,
you,
we're talking about
Callie.
games. You know, how often do you guys listen to podcasts? And
He said
people are
he
excited about
said I
games,
butchered
man.
the name. Listen, let me be country. That's my thing. How you say her name? Aoi?
Oh,
Aloy? Aoi? I
don't
can't.
even worry about it. Kimiga mispronounces his wife's name and his dog.
Don has not said her name yet, so he don't know how to say it either.
No.
What's her name then?
Yeah, she looks like my wifey. That's all. That's all I know.
That's so you call her wifey? Is that what you?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. So, all
I,
right, let's move
I
on.
was
So let's get.
horrible when I was a single man. I never paid attention to like last names. I was actually really bad with names. I'm not gonna lie. So
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. Since I've sat here and butchered that girl's name, I apologize, PlayStation Nation. All right. So let's talk about E3. Now,
okay.
I was listening to some podcasts, and there was some people out there basically talking about E3, and then I seen um Paris. I've never like had any interaction with him.
Yeah, he gets
But
around though, right?
he gets around. Yeah, he gets around. And so basically him, and I've heard like King David mention that E3 is pretty much dead. Now, Don, I've heard you talk about it and
I
say,
I
it's
don't
not
want it
really
to be, but
right. But see, now this is the thing here, that the relevance. Um, think that them missing a year is people. I mean, I know people are going to definitely watch E3, the virtual show,
yeah, well,
but
it'd be
it's the
nice
it's
to
people that
also have a bunch of content, kind of that
yeah.
drinking from a fire hose sort of experience at least. Even though you can't
Mhm.
be there, you can't share in the experience in the live experience, but you can do virtually online. So I mean, it's better than nothing, right? That's what
Right.
majority of gamers, they experience it online. They don't experience it in person. So
Yeah, so it's for me, the experience is being there, but it's also just I just think E3 is. I mean, that every time I've watched that show for over 10 years. So I mean, whenever they first showed it, they first was showing, had the opportunity to show it through the 360. Um, man, I was watching it, and then of course, like I don't know, man. I mean, it's to me, it's so relevant. It's so a part of what Xbox and the PlayStation and Nintendo and all the rest of these gaming companies. It seems like it's just a part of it. Even though I know Sony left, um, I know that EA pulled
So
out.
I heard. So the rumor is
Yeah.
Sony hasn't signed up for the digital event. Is that what's going on?
No.
Gotcha.
I've heard that Sony, EA, and I believe there was one other that didn't participate. That's not going to participate, but it is definitely everyone else that's going to participate. So
My question is, can they come up with a financial structure that each one of those companies can get on board? You know, regardless whatever the format is. Because here's the thing: is let's say Sony or Microsoft had a bomb year where it didn't go well for them, right?
right,
What usually happens at one of those platform providers where one kind of drops it, the other one kind of picks each other up, and it brings gaming to kind of that rising tide raises all ships sort of mentality, right? It brings a little bit more momentum, a little bit more weight behind it. Same thing with the third party support with the EAs and whatnot, right? Some years you just don't have anything EA's excited for, or say Ubisoft as a gamer, right? But one of those brings up something, and it becomes a relevant conversation and brings gamers together in that sense. So it's always disappointing to hear that the big players are not willing to participate in the live event. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it is true. But I mean, for people who's been out there and for the people who's watched, because Sony left about 3 years ago.
yeah,
So it's not so much, and EA has kind of been separated and is doing their own thing anyway for the last pretty much 3 years too. So I don't know if Square Enix or let's say, well, Bethesda's now with the Xbox, so that's not going to really happen. But they say Square Enix or Capcom, someone like that, decided to pull out as well, then I would be definitely concerned. I just don't know. I mean, when I'm hearing other people talk about like E3 is dead and what's the reason for E3 to still stay around, I mean, I could give you a million reasons, but I mean, when you look at it from the outside looking in, as a person who isn't, you know, emotionally tied in. Well, as a person like me, I'm emotionally tied in. But for somebody that, if you look at it from the outside in, that's emotionally not tied in, I could totally understand why people would think that three is dead and that it might need to go away with the dodo. So
well,
I don't know.
I think it's a hard argument to make for somebody that's never been there. You know what I mean?
Right.
In regards to that, because they just like, well, just show me what the games are. But I want, the problem is, and here's the thing: is gaming's hot right now, right in the middle of the pandemic, right? And we didn't know how financially the pandemic was going to affect certain industries when it all first went down. Like wondering if we can close down studios, what's going to happen, that sort of thing. Everything's looking really positive for the gaming industry in regards to the pandemic. But the flip side to that, the casualty is live events. In regards to that is the major casualty, because these companies are seeing success, but they don't necessarily have to come and hold these huge live events, and they just look at that stuff as a cost, right? And that's a cost that could be going to, let's say, a different team member to help a game release on time. It can be going to new technology to make their game stand out compared to their competition. Who knows, bonuses with certain teams. It's looked at it that way. Maybe we can make right for the people that have to work all this overtime, and just kind of compensate them a little bit better. That money can go to other things, and these companies, they're looking at it that way. And and what's the best place to spend that cash, and where are they going to get the return on their investment? So it is E3 is in competition with many dollars going to other places, and that's just kind of the harsh reality. So
yeah, I don't know. It's a tough call.
I mean, you always keep the
said,
hope
I
alive.
Understand it.
I get where you're always at, right?
Yeah,
what I mean?
it's more than that. I mean, it's just the thing to me. It's like, I know that there can be other venues. There's PAX. There's other places. But it's very important that we still have those type of venues, especially now after you look at it and from what we seen last year was just, I mean, there was some hit and misses with some of those events, but for the most part it just didn't feel the same. Not because even when the times that I didn't go to E3 and I was just sitting here watching it as a just like everybody else, or for the majority of people, I there still was significance there. There still was the excitement of, oh man, this is it. This is the granddaddy of them all. This is the place. This is the mecca of gaming right here. I can't wait to watch it. And if it goes away, then what will take its place? You see what I'm saying?
Or if anything will. That's
Yeah,
the
or
that's
if
the real
anything will,
concern, right? So
and yeah, and that's the thing that bothers me more than anything. Like, I mean, if they could move the venue, I mean, we've talked about this before. I would think Vegas would be a fantastic spot. But even if it's not that, even if it's kind of like what you're saying, like they could just save costs. I mean, because Sony seems like that was one of the reasons why they left. So,
yeah, I mean, who knows what the real motivation is on this sort of stuff? And
right,
you're always on the outside looking, and
right.
even me, like working in the industry, like I got an idea, and I hear the whispers, but I'm hesitant to repeat those whispers because
Right, right, right.
and I'm not going to try to start rumor mill, and I never know who I will work with in the, in the future, right? So I want to make sure, keep all my options open out there, especially if my shit doesn't work out. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Well, and I mean that's smart, but I mean, and sometimes you just don't need to just.
You don't need to
even
run
if
your
you do know
mouth all the
something, you
time.
just don't need to run your mouth. Right. Like, I mean, that's kind of an irrelevant point to just. You could say it, and yeah, people are like, oh my goodness, but then again, it'd be a scoop. But then again, like you said, it could cause a lot more problems than what.
You're a flash in the pan. It just depends on where you're at,
right?
Right. And I think even with internet personalities, sometimes don't burn your bridges, man. You want to build those relationships, and we kind of joke around with Jeff Keighley and stuff like that, but who's going to be the Jeff Keighley going forward, right? Like he's not going to be in that spot forever, right? As far as an icon, so you want to be somebody that that you can relate to and doesn't blow those opportunities. I welcome new talent out there in every single aspect of gaming. In this case, I guess it's personalities in gaming. I guess it is a new category, if you know what I mean, because the news stuff is dead. I mean, I can't think I can't think of the first time I've seen a review or a news that was relevant that's out there. Yeah, that really contributes something positive to gaming in regards to that. So,
right, and that's to me is what bothers me is that then if you take away 3, then we'll just pretty much have what we had last year. That just wasn't the same. It didn't feel the same. I mean, yeah, that could be the normal, but it just doesn't.
If it becomes a new
gravitate.
If it becomes a yearly digital event, we're just going to do a yearly barbecue at my house and watch it live. We're going to be in the theater room. We'll have the live stream going up as we're watching it, and everyone can watch us. I guess like we were there in regards to that.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I'll make snow fall from the ceiling and all that sort of stuff. Bring as much of the E3 experience as you possibly can.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. Oh my goodness. Anyway,
remember when they did that with Forza? Were you there when that happened?
Yes, that was amazing because that was my first E3.
I heard about it.
That was incredible because when they went to the autumn, they just started dropping leaves from the ceiling, and then they went to winter. They blasted the air conditioner and it got extra cold. You felt this gush of cold air, and then they started dropping like the lighting and the light snow. It was insane. And then like the sound of everything about that was just A+. Like like man, and that to me is what I think that the people who can get the opportunity to go would never, if E3 was to leave. And then like there wouldn't be a venue that would take over the mantle of what E3 has been. I feel that would be the missed opportunity for a lot of gamers out there, because I feel that every gamer, person who should experience it just one time, just
Well,
one time.
even before like it was available to the public, I was going to E3 trying to make my mark in the industry. Trying to bust down that door, right? And so I had industry passes and stuff like that, to go to those sort of things. And little is known, I did stand next to, didn't realize they were the heads of Xbox at the time, next to Seamus Blackley and Phil Spencer and some other leads at the time. Had no idea who they were. and I don't know if they would ever remember the experience or anything like that. A much younger me, but I remember playing on the dev kit, playing Halo, and going, yeah, I'm not impressed. And I walked away.
Oh, wow.
And so, I'm more than happy to be wrong in regards to that. And to be honest with you, most developers, when I was taking the shuttle back to the hotel and stuff like that, they talked about Xbox, and they felt like there wasn't going to be a future back then. They were kind of like Halo, or like whatever. Like everyone was kind of like, no one really thought Halo was going to be the blockbuster it was. And I remember those conversations, and I can reflect upon that as a creator. And that's a special moment. And here's the thing, like I work with creators all the time through the freelance work I do and stuff like that, but it's nice to meet people from different studios. Does that make sense? And talk shop and stuff like that. That's what, the game developer conference is a big one for me. I actually get a lot more out of that than E3, but I'd still get some of that experience from E3 as well. So,
right, and that to me too is because it's more work when we're out there, because we're carrying cameras around, we're talking with people, things like that. But
well, I heard what is it? Lemon has like one of those little red wagons with all this camera equipment.
Pretty much, yes. So, he calls it Brooklyn, and so
Brooklyn.
Little Brooklyn. Anyway, but no, but no, this is the real. This was what was crazy though. It's just the experience of talking with. Because if people followed me for a really long time, they knew that I used to cut up and stuff like that. But it was, I took it all for fun and enjoying it. Enjoying it, but and looking at the situation from like the console wars perspective, it's just fun. People don't really take this stuff seriously. They can't, even though I know that there's some people out there that's being really crazy. But then the more and more I got involved into doing it, I see people really taking it to heart and being really, being real serious. And I'm like, whoa, this is not what I signed up for. Having a couple of jokes, talking a little trash every once in a while, that's fine. But I mean, we're still all gamers here.
Well,
then
I always say talking trash to people that are your closest friends, right? People that know,
right.
People that know they're not going to cry about it later, right? Like,
right. Well, see, but that's the thing. Like, I'm not comprehending this because we're all adults, and I'm seeing like, that. When they tell you, PlayStation's the best thing since sliced bread, I can't believe that your primary console is Xbox, blah, 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 blah. And I'm taking it as, this dude is joking. Ha, ha, ha. Let me say something back to him, whatever. Then I started seeing that it was taken more seriously. But what my point was that when I went to E3, and it was before that I kind of knew that I wasn't trying to be a part of all that console.
You're trying to distance yourself a little bit.
Distance myself from it. But when I went to E3, it brought back exactly what my whole love for gaming was. I mean, I've always had the love for it, but it really brought it back to like my childhood, because to see so many people that played all different types of games, and then we're all just talking about gaming. It was beautiful, and that's the experience that, like, for me, and that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm personally invested into it.
Of course.
It's because of that aspect to it, and I know that there's other places where people get involved, but that to me is gaming's is gaming's Comic-Con. That's the spot, that's the place. E3 is exactly where it brings people from all over the world come together to talk about gaming, to celebrate gaming, and that's one thing about when I look at like when PlayStation bowed out. It hurt me because I wanted to go to I was trying to get into the event at PlayStation, and you had to have an invitation, and you had to be one of the the in people. But I wanted to go there and experience it and talk to other people. I mean, and I did get to talk to some PlayStation people and a couple of devs and things like that. But and that's the whole thing about it too, is that
and nothing
people seem to want to.
against
Yeah,
Sony, but that's kind of what E3, like what you experience with Sony, is kind of what E3 traditionally has been in the past. Just so you
right,
know, in regards to that. So, that shows a rift that was in E3 of the gamers, the most passionate gamers, right, and the most passionate people to make games, and how it is a product of working with vendors and things like that. And that's, I don't know, that's got to change, right? Like the question is,
right.
because here's the thing, and like, more power to power to the players with GameStop. So power to the players, right? But um, we know GameStop's running on borrowed time. I mean, everyone knows that, right?
Right.
So at this point, regardless if that's the place everywhere everyone knows your name, right? Like it is, it's running on borrowed time, and
Yes.
you still may be able to buy your hard copies, at your Best Buys and your Targets and your WalMarts and stuff like that. But I can't think of the last time I've been in a GameStop. Seriously.
Yeah, it's well, I've gone to GameStop to buy a couple of controllers, things like that. But
Outside of
buying
that,
games
when's the
and stuff
last time you've been
anymore,
in there?
just to buy games, it's been a really long time,
And did you
really long time.
do you not go because you're a pissed off customer, or just because they didn't offer you anything?
Well, no, it's just one of the things is
Yeah.
that it you caught me, you got me for what you got me for, and I've learned my lesson from it, and now I'm just moving on from it.
Yeah. So it's
I'm
not a bitter
I'm not
thing.
bitter from
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm not bitter.
But
I understand it's business. I was ignorant, and I should have paid attention to the trends, as I say when I'm looking at things now. But no, I just was, working, take care of family, just trying to pay bills, and every once in a while, knowing that I wanted to get this particular game, and I had to trade games to get this game. So,
yeah.
yeah. So I
But
mean, that's
but
just
it,
something I have to deal with.
but but that's the thing, is like, it didn't necessarily leave you thinking that, hey, I had a great experience when I was there, right? Like,
No, that's the point of it, right?
and that's, and I think
Well,
as a,
I've had some good experience
oh, have
because
you? Good.
we've had game tournaments and things like that, and then I think everybody who was going to GameStop at that time were pretty much a regular at the particular store that they went to,
Yeah.
and so I was a regular at there was two stores once I moved out to this place out here, out to this area out here. Then I would go to this one that wasn't that far, about a mile and a half away. Then the one when I was in the other area, um, I was there all the time. I would just go in there and just talk with people, because we became friends and stuff, and they would tell me about events and stuff that was coming and stuff like that. But I, those were great experience, and then get to talk and get to new consoles or new games or whatever. I got good fond memories, but just as the store itself, to go back and if they closed the stores today, I wouldn't be like, oh man, I wish they would kept GameStop open. So I'm with you on that point.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like, now you got retailers, like, how relevant is E3 to them? Like, tie it back to E3, right? Like, you
Right.
don't need to send all these GameStop store managers there. Like, I'm sure they're looking at that cost. They're like, well, are we going to get a return on our investment sending them there? We're not, right? So there's no real reason to do that, especially when you're seeing it what's live, and you're seeing people share, whatever their social media platform of choice, and whoever they have trusted people to watch them. Like, that has more impact now than any sort of article you can have in a magazine, or you can have on a website like an IGN or GameStop, or GameSpot, for example, or a Kodaku. That has so much more weight than that. That firsthand experience, that genuine experience, is a big thing. So I don't know. It's obviously going to evolve. There's certain things that are just not going to be the same in the entertainment. E3 is one of them, I think, and I don't wish it. We'll see where it goes, and I wish them the best of luck. In regards to their digital event, and hopefully we can make the most of the situation at hand. So
Yeah, I mean that's the part about it that sucks. I mean, if E3 goes away, then I mean that I have, at least I've had fond memories of it. Even if like I didn't ever get a chance to go, There was great memories when me and my kids would sit there and watch it, and and just the big events, well, just not I'm not talking about the big events, but the big announcements, things like that were brought up. I mean, you can't take those memories away, but it would really suck if it did go away. But I would hate if there's not anything that replaces. That's the thing that bothers me more than anything. If E3 goes away because of the situation at hand, then I can understand that. But to not have something to take its place would be probably the biggest issue over.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah.
And then to Blue Shell's point in the chat where he says need a dedicated gaming store for like GameStop. I agree. But that business model just doesn't work, right? Like you don't want to have your store looking like a garage sale when you walk in. It just doesn't. It's not a good look. And it's cool to have like Funko Pops, but you know it's not why I'm there. You know what I mean? Like, if you get where I'm going with that, if I was going to look at a dedicated gaming store, business model, imagine going to your random Best Buy where you have your television section. You have three sections: stereo, sound section. You actually have TVs that are specifically cherry picked by those storefronts that have low latency, the features that gamers are looking for, like certain select Vizios and Sony televisions and Samsung TVs. You have those on sale along with monitors on sale that are cherry picked as well, and then you have like dedicated sound, like headsets and all that sort of stuff, and then you have a dedicated PC area that you can build, and all the hard copy games you can get your hands on and have first-hand experiences and hold tournaments there as well. I think that would be an amazing experience, but I just don't see anyone picking up the mantle and doing it, unfortunately. So
No, well, see now there's a store that's just probably maybe yeah, about half a mile away. Um, or I would say a mile away. And it has like card table, like it's got like card where people could go and play like Dungeons and Dragons and Yu-Gi-Oh. It has a comic book section. It has video game section. It has like retro arcade room. It has a place where people can play like demos of games, and then of course they have some of the new games. Now they don't have as many games as like GameStop, and they're a little more expensive with their games because they don't have them like a discount unless their used titles are not that expensive, but for new games, you know, they're a little bit more expensive.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
those are the type of places that I think that if GameStop was, and I think we've had this conversation before, if GameStop was wanting to reinvent themselves, that is the perfect way to do it.
You would have to close the half stores. You have to make them bigger.
Kind of like what you were saying, Best Buy. Like,
Yeah.
like you have to do that because one thing, you always will have people come in that's always going to love card games like Magic the Gathering, Dungeons and Dragons, stuff like that.
I mean, I don't even play card games, but I'll tell you what, that's going to bring more people in than your Funko Pops.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean,
and then the comic book store
it's more
itself,
relative
yeah.
to that culture, what gaming is and stuff like that, and even the comic book stuff. Like you could, in Blue Shell, yes, the stores are way too small for what they're doing. There's a reason why they look like they're run out of someone's basement. It just they're just
right, like
they're not built for that sort of thing. But
they were built for efficiency,
yeah,
not for
But if you look at what gamers care about, right? They care about hardware. And you shouldn't almost have like a Microsoft approach. You shouldn't have gaming being cut off from different types of gamers. Does that make sense? You go to a GameStop, it's pretty much a console gamer's place, but the reality is PC gamers are part of the equation too, right? So you should be able to get your water cool fittings and your GPU blocks. They have a section for that. As I was saying, like there is a business model that can be done out there that really brings all those sort of gamers together in regards to that. And I think when you bring different communities like the Sony and the Microsoft and the Nintendo community and the people that are into the high-end hardware that go along with that stuff, and you bring in card gamers, people that play Magic the Gathering and all that sort of stuff. There's a common bond that's brought together. It brings almost, and it's funny, we can talk about E3, but it brings kind of almost that E3 environment into a store. That's what these stores are missing, is that camaraderie between gamers and that shared interest. And it's just kind of this dry, stale experience when you walk into a store as a gamer, and like it's disheartening, to be honest with you. So.
Right, and that's what I was, because I was typing up the store that's not that far from, yeah, it's a mile away, but yeah, no, it's not the size of Best Buy. It's the size of probably a Dollar General.
He was just trying to say this. The thing that I'm looking for, you would have to have the size of Best Buy. I think about this half the size of the Best. We have a pretty modest Best Buy near where I live, and I think I can make that work in that floor space about half, and not feel crowded, not feel weird, and not feel like people have to trip over one another. So.
Right, yeah, we did hear. I did think I thought I heard that Reggie was going to be stepping down. Well, I mean, it's smart because the stock went up sky high. So yeah, just cash out, bail out. That would be smart.
I mean, that is a golden parachute laced with platinum.
Right. So I mean, yeah,
go.
like this is the perfect time for him to leave. So that makes perfect sense. I believe I've heard that too, Yogi. But
he's like,
yeah.
My work is done. Yeah. I'm out.
Yeah, my work is done. Yeah, my work is done. I can chill. I can go somewhere else. But yeah, so that's the thing for me, is that like that's the only way that GameStop can survive, if they reinvent themselves like that, like place that's out there by me. And it was funny because that store started off as about the size of that was about the size of a GameStop. It was in a little dinky little area in a shopping center, and yeah, and they were trying to build more into it. There was just mostly a comic part, and then they had like a retro gaming area. And then next thing you know, I didn't go for, I don't know, maybe about 4 or 5 years. And then I went back. I was like, oh, you know what? Let me go back. And I saw the place was closed, and I was like, oh, that sucks. That place got closed down. And then so I was driving down, and I said, is that the same place? And they bought a bigger venue, and like I said, it was about the size of a Dollar General store or something like that, which is a pretty good size.
Yeah.
And they have everything in there, like I just said. That, and I just, when you just said computers, they even have an area where they have like 4 computers sitting at a desk, and there's people that can be playing computer games. There's people that, like, they have its own retro room that they have like stand-up arcades, and then they got like the Nintendo 64. They got the Nintendo Switch. I mean, not Switch. I'm sorry, the Nintendo, the Super Nintendo, the NES, and then they have, on the opposite side, they have Sega stuff, and they have the Dreamcast in that room, and then they got a little food area, and then their 2 biggest areas is the comic books and the cards room, because there's always tons of people in the card area. There's always about 20-30 people in there.
And that's the toughest thing about a brick and mortar business. You're trying to get people in the door. They're like, if you get in the door, hopefully they'll spend something, right? That's the goal. So,
right.
Yeah, it strikes. I don't disagree with you on the customer service side of things. It's not representative of every customer service rep that works at them, but there's you can prioritize I feel like if they prioritize the experience, people will be more happy to be there, and be more happy to come back, right? It's part of it is creating an experience that sticks with your customers, that makes them think, hey, I want to go back and go there, or check things out, and maybe not normally think about something, and they just buy a game on the shelf because just because it was there, because they wanted to be there, right? So, there's a lot of improvement that can be done there. I just don't know if brick and mortar can be saved on that front. I had my dream of what a dream game store would be, but I just don't know. They're going to be few and far between. Like, they're just the rare gems.
This is the thing for me that would keep a place like that would stay alive when most brick and mortar stores are gone, is because of the community.
Yeah.
See, that's the one thing about gamers, is that if you feel like you said, if they feel comfortable, and there's people that's there, they'll sit there all day and they'll buy food and they'll sit there and they'll talk and mingle and all that, and I think they stay open until midnight. Um, so I think they might stay open later on Fridays and Saturdays. That part I don't know, but that's the thing though, is that's what you want though.
Yeah.
Is that's where GameStop lacks, is that they're trying to get you in and out as quick as possible so they can get to the next customer. And then on top of that, what's really sad is that now at GameStop, because the last time I did go, they were so undermanned. They didn't have enough people, and there was a line of people, because that's when I was trying to give me a Series
usually
X.
you're standing in an awkward space where you're standing over the top of somebody, you know what I mean?
Right,
And
and it's like about 10 other people, because all thing we need to do is just ask a question, or if I want to just get something or whatever, and there's only one person at the desk, the other person is somewhere else, and it's not their fault. It's it's just the fact that they've cut back on wanting to have as many people, as many employees there to help everybody, is that get these things, and it's unfortunate. It's sad. And so yeah, it's not the same as what it used to be. So
did I ever tell you about my good GameSpot experience?
No.
So you know how Don doesn't play sports games, right? Like that's not what Don does, right? Don don't do spooky, and Don don't play no sports games.
And don't play sports.
Yeah. Okay. So, you remember when the Xbox One S came out, right?
Yes.
Because I couldn't wait for the X, and I wanted to have my HDR now, not later, right?
Yeah.
So, I remember doing like a midnight pickup where you're able to pick them up that midnight, right? At my local GameStop, and I got my pre-order, everything paid for. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna roll up, because I decided to buy it there because we're gonna do a midnight launch, so I can pick it up. And so I roll up, and I totally forgot Madden was coming out with that box. Remember that? They had that Madden bundle and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh man, all the Madden people. I mean, I don't play football games, but man, those are my people, man. I can tell you what, there's dudes running around like without their shirt on.
Oh yeah, that's wild, man.
And people bringing pizza. It was like a giant tailgate party picking up my Xbox. One of the best console launches in my life.
Yes.
And it was because of Madden. So that gave me just that extra bit of respect for Madden at that point. I mean, people were just buying chicken wings, all sorts of stuff, and like next thing you know, somebody's girlfriend brought a giant thing of potato salad.
Oh, there you go. You should have potato salad.
Yeah, I'm in Utah, man. It's gonna happen, right? But yeah, it was an awesome experience. There was some wild stuff that was happening, for sure.
Yeah, those are the things that I can talk about, because of course I love the sports games. I remember when I was getting Call of Duty 3, and the line was so long, but it was just everybody talking, and just those experiences will always stick with me. I will miss them, and that's the one thing too that's why sometimes I'll miss when I get the digital thing, when I buy the digital copy and I'm waiting for it to download or whatever. Sometimes I'll think about, man, what it was like when you used to go to GameStop or to Best Buy, but it was mostly GameStop, and then you was getting that midnight launch.
K-Meg is calling his Uber Eats. They have him hang out with
them. No.
Game downloads.
They would already have the pizza ready and everything else. Like for Madden, Call of Duty. And that was my first time that I was ever remembering Smash Brothers was ever, because there was another game. There was a game that I was trying to get at midnight, and I knew that they would be open because there was a certain game, and I forgot what it was, and then now I'm thinking about it, it was Smash Brothers, and that's when I realized Smash Brothers was really huge, and I was like, really, that game is that popular?
So, but whatever. I remember playing the first Smash Brothers at E3.
Oh wow, really? What do you think about that? Did you go Fooey to that one too?
No. I didn't go Fooey at that one. But I remember coming back and trying to explain to people, like before, because there was that delay when the magazines came out later, right? So no one really knew, and I come back and I start talking about, oh yeah, Nintendo's got this cool game where like, yeah, you can play Zelda, Mario, because they never had a game where they sandwiched all their IP characters in until then. And I was trying to explain to them that they had this fighting game and you get to play all these Nintendo characters and fight. They thought I was so full of shit.
Really?
When I told them that, and then the magazines came out. They're like, "Oh crap!" And I remember telling them, "Yeah, man, Link is OP in that game. Just pick Link."
Wow,
and I just remember doing that. Yeah, the first Link was super OP because he had that ability to kind of fly himself out there a little bit and get himself back. Does that make sense? Pretty easily, and he can really knock people off the edge and that sort of thing. And I just remember trying to explain that to people, and they were just like, "No, that doesn't exist." You know.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
People telling me Virtual Boy was the future or something like that. I don't remember what it was.
Oh, not the Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's okay. So E3. Man, I hope E3 can still stay around, but I mean, yeah, it seems like it's lost a lot of luster over the last 4 years. I would say definitely. But we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to what they're going to show. So anyway, so let's go ahead and get to the next topic. Oh, that was a good conversation.
Yeah, man, it's reminiscent.
Yeah,
this is why you guys come here, right? So
right, no doubt about it.
At least I like to think.
All right. Oh yeah. So let's talk about this right fast. Okay, so all right, so Death Stranding. And we talked about the Edge Chrome beta.
Yeah.
That's available for certain people out there, and there was people that were saying that they was able to play Steam games on their Xbox. Well, Death Stranding was taken down from GeForce, and it was and so like people was speculating because one of the games that they were showing was Death Stranding being played. And so it got taken down, and so there was some people that were saying, well, maybe Sony was saying, no, we don't want people to play that game like that on the competition console. But then the other question could be, the other theory could be, is that Death Stranding, and there's been rumors about this here for a little bit, that Death Stranding could be going somewhere else, could be actually going to Xbox. So what is your thoughts about that? Do you think that would be probably the main fact, because nobody else is taking their games down from what I've heard? It's only been
I will
Death
say
Stranding.
that contract is not as tight as people think it is.
Ooh, okay.
So I don't know what they'll do with it in regards to that, and I don't know all the ins and outs of it, but from what I understand, it's not your typical exclusive sort of contract when it comes down to it. I mean, there's a reason why he owns his own studio and Sony doesn't own him. So in regards to that, and yeah, you remember when you were asking me, oh, actually, you know what, that was another subject. Yeah, I think that was in the background where you're saying when Phil was talking about something and all the stuff hidden in his background behind him.
Oh yeah, I remember.
Yeah, so I think one of the things was Death Stranding in the background, and the other thing was the skull with the crown on it. I believe guys, double check this. If I'm wrong, let me know. Tell it in the in the comments on the YouTube page. But the other one I know for a fact is the skull from Watch Dogs, from the latest Watch Dogs. That's what that was. So you were asking me about those two items, but I think there was a Death Stranding related thing somewhere in the background that I saw. So
right, that's what I was asking you about, because there's been rumors of that game potentially going over, and then there's been talk of
imagine it going over to Game Pass.
Yeah, that's the segue to get it. So I just wanted, because that's where I wanted to go. Okay, so basically there's another rumor going on top of that. So could you imagine? Okay, so Xbox having the MLB The Show coming out here pretty soon, and then later on they'll have Death Stranding, which is another pretty much considered a PlayStation game. And then the potential of this, to me, this is bigger than both games in my opinion, but Battlefield 6 coming on Xbox day and date. Game Pass, I should say.
I don't think it's
what do you think about that?
I don't think the latest Battlefield is going to happen. I think it's going to be on our EA access, which is tied to Game Pass. I think that's if that manifests itself in any sort of way, I think that's how it's going to manifest itself.
All right. Because EA Play is connected
Yeah,
with Game
EA
Pass.
Play is Game
So
Pass, but Game Pass is whatever. You get where I'm going with that.
yeah. No, I did
So
get what you can.
so
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 I
so you don't think that?
I think it goes through that channel, not
Okay.
directly under Game Pass, right? It goes through the EA Access sort of thing. Like because well, EA is definitely listening. I will say this: the things that I know,
Okay. All right. All
I
right.
know
All right.
EA is watching those numbers.
Right.
In regards to that, so when people
Mhm.
start saying, "Oh, games don't make as much on whatever platform," because that's a conversation that people have. Well, the problem is you don't have all the information. And even me, I don't have all the information, but I know enough that I don't have all the information to fully include myself in the conversation. This did better here or there, sort of thing, because people just don't know how that all pans out for the developer. So, but I know EA is looking into these models quite well. There's a reason why. I mean, why do you think they partnered up with Game Pass? I mean, think about it, right? They're doing it
Right.
because they see the potential there and they want to know all the secrets in regards to it. And it just gives them kind of more of that closer to the metal of experience with Microsoft, and that's a net positive for them. So we'll see where it all goes, of course. But maybe they'll never do day and date. That's a possibility too. Maybe they don't see the output, or I should say the return on the investment on that. But I wouldn't be surprised EA eventually will be day and date on certain select titles. So
Okay. So you're saying you don't think that's a possibility to be day and date like MLB The Show and the
it's
Outriders?
no, it's a possibility, but just not through
Okay.
this, not
Okay.
through the same channel. It's more of an indirect channel. So it would be going
Okay.
to EA Access in that format, and since EA Access is part of Game Pass, right? That's how people will get access to it. You see where I'm going with that?
No. I see where you're going with
Yeah,
that. So
yeah, yeah.
okay. So here's my scenario, right? Okay. Let's see if you follow me on this. All right. So Battlefield 1 did absolutely fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
It shocked a lot of people how well it did. Battlefield 5, so much. Got a lot of unnecessary scrutiny. People were talking about what they were showing with the lady with the mechanical arm. She wasn't even in the game. It was just a trailer. But it still caused a big
Oh,
uproar.
you
A
talking
lot of
about
people,
the outrage competition that
yeah,
happens on the internet?
the
Gotcha.
outrage, and it definitely did hurt sales. The game didn't do any, from my understanding, anywhere near what they were supposed to, or what they anticipated. So I look at it from the same scenario as Square Enix and what they did with Avengers and what they did with Outriders. Now, of course, these negotiations were well in hand before, but the bad taste that everybody had with Avengers, I I think that Square Enix was looking at it from this standpoint, was like, look, we can't have another online game that we have come out because people are going to be skeptical of this. Maybe
I
this,
forget
and we
they're all
see.
tied to under the same publisher. I didn't think about that.
Right, and we want to
Yeah,
get this game, and if we put it out here on a Game Pass, we'll at least have people to come and see it, and we'll just go from there, right?
of course.
And then this game has become a huge hit, right? I'm thinking that EA could be thinking the same way because they can't afford, because they've had a lot, like the main guy who was with Dice, he left, or well, I don't know if he got fired or he left, whatever. But uh, and EA is trying to do this turnaround. People were talking about, they're a little skeptical of EA. EA is trying to change their image, and Battlefield 5 is at once looked at as competition to Call of Duty. Call of Duty has just ran away right now. What this game could do, it could bring that narrative back if they put that on Game Pass day and date. If they overlook it, because Xbox has always had the third party marketing rights for that game.
They've had a strong
So
relationship with EA, that's for
and
sure.
and they've had a strong relationship with EA. So it's kind of, I look at it kind of the same way of while Square Enix did it, and they're like, look, we had an issue, let's put it here, let's see. I could definitely see EA saying, hey, you know what? Let's do this and get as many people on board to play this game as possible. And if Game Pass by that time, that would man, that game right there. And then you look at it, if you get Battlefield 6,
yeah, I gotcha.
and then you get Battlefield 6, and you got Halo Infinite getting ready to come. That's going to boost the hell out of Game Pass subscriptions. That's going to be a lot of people that's going to play that game.
Or a new Titanfall.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. Just think of okay, so hold on, wait a minute. What are you trying to tell us, Don?
I'm not trying to say anything. Anyways,
okay.
EA is a publisher of Titanfall. I don't know if you guys know that. So,
what'd you say?
I don't know if you guys know that, but EA publishes Titanfall. I'm just saying.
Right, and you know what? And one of the things that EA did was mess up that situation by cramming Titanfall 2, and within. Man, it's perfect. The marriage is perfect. I'm. What do you think, Don? Do you think that I'm on to something?
Man, I think you're on this dove trip with rice thrown up in the air and everything right now.
Oh man, come on, man.
No, I don't think it's going to be as hit the pavement kind of like how Microsoft went in. Just like, okay, we're all in. All our first party public. I don't think it's going to be that with EA. I think EA is
not all this. Just this particular game.
I'm just thinking. There's certain ones they're going to dip their toes with. Which ones they're going to dip their toes with, I don't know. But I mean, think about the last two games that were done by that one creator that does co-op dependent games. You know what I'm talking about with EA?
Oh yeah, the game that we got. Yeah. It takes two.
Takes two. Yeah, it takes two. And there's the other one. It was the Prison Breakout one, right? So,
right. Yeah.
What's interesting is EA is doing something they never thought they would do. People always try to frame EA as somebody that clubs baby seals. I don't know, but they're not as bad as people make them out to be. They're just a business, and sometimes they get it wrong, right? They find out the hard way. Hopefully, businesses figure it out before they find out the hard way. But sometimes they find out the hard way. But I don't think they're really bad people. I think they have the best intentions. They just don't know sometimes the best ways to execute with profit and keeping the customers happy. But those back to the games that are co-op dependent, you only have to buy one copy, right? And your buddy can play. Name one game company that's doing that right now that's not EA.
Well, I can't really think of it unless it's on a PC.
We'll sit here and wait. Chat, can you think of any? That's my point. So, they're not as bad as people make them out to be. Sometimes they just don't get it right all the time. But the way I look at it is they're just trying to figure out how to bring those two things together, the profitability in that, and Game Pass might be one of those things. We'll see what games they kind of dip their toe with, right? Because they don't have a kind of an evergreen sort of title, if you get where I'm going with that, where it's a continuous world. They don't have anything like that outside of Anthem in their portfolio. But imagine if they're watching this sort of stuff, and let's say Anthem 2 becomes a reality, and it's flushed out, and it's in a service like Game Pass day and date. And I will not only say that, but let's say if it's in a service, Sony starts creating their own service, and it's also in services like that as well. I mean, that's kind of a game changer if you think about it, right? So. We'll see where it goes. I know they're looking into it. They're always looking at numbers. They're a company that's driven by numbers. There's no doubt about it. So,
yeah, no, I just think that it would be not only a home run for Battlefield 6 because it's also going back to the modern guns. As a matter of fact, I think that it's going to be modern, kind of futuristic. So,
okay,
so they're just going back to regular weapons and that and I hope this and it's going to be crazy how they're going to do the story because I know that there's stories they can break the stories down like they do it in the Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5, which that was fine with because I thought they would really have some.
I don't know if I like that format. I don't know if I like that short form format.
You didn't like Battlefield 1
that's
stories
not my favorite part about it.
But I loved them though. I thought they were both great.
I like the Michael Bay epic campaign and then
Battlefield 4 story, the 3 story was that's really yeah. So
they weren't bad, but they were just kind of these short little things. There weren't these like beginning, middle, end type stories, and I like the big Michael Bay beginning, middle, end. Versus
right, yeah, like Battlefield 3 and 4. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
right.
like the bad companies and stuff like that people talk about.
Yeah,
so.
bad company. Right, right. But yeah, that's my whole outlook on it. Because I mean, if they were making Bad Company, I definitely wouldn't see that. I think there's enough people out there that's hungry for Bad Company that EA could just do their thing and just go from there. But Battlefield is in a really unique spot, and that's why I'm
what was
looking
the
at
Battlefield that you liked a lot? It was like Cops and Robbers. I forgot what that was
called.
that
was Hardline.
Hardline.
I love Hardline.
You want a sequel to Hardline? Is that what you're saying?
Oh man, if they did that, man, I'd buy it. I wouldn't even worry about Game Pass. I'd buy it, buy the whole pack. It just I love that game is so fun. The multiplayer is so fun. The story wasn't that bad. It was hit and miss in certain parts, but the ending of the story was absolutely epic.
It went a little left for what people were expecting for
Battlefield. Did you ever beat the?
I've never really played it, to be honest with you. I never really caught my attention.
Okay.
Battlefield's like my Call of Duty, like in the sense of like I don't always pick all of them up, but if it's one that I have interest with friends and stuff like that occasionally, and you're like, what, I haven't done one of those in a while. It's kind of like trying to get a Little Caesars pizza. It's not something I do all the time, but I haven't done it in a while, so that sounds good.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, exactly.
You know what? That is exactly what Hardline is. It's like Little Caesars pizza.
It's hot and ready, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's hot and ready, but then that's the thing. You're looking at it, you're thinking the quality is not going to be great because of what you've heard or what you've seen. See it because it's a Little Caesars. And then it surprises you. You bite into it. Whoa, wait a minute. This is good. It's fresh, hot. It's ready. It's good. Yeah. That's how Hardline is. Hardline
it didn't give you heartburn. You're good.
No. Don't give you heartburn. It's good. Now some people it's a skin of Battlefield 4. Yeah, it's. I could see a little bit of that with the graphics aspect of it, but it was really fun.
As somebody that does graphics, and that's primarily what I do in games, is there's nothing more annoying when people say it's just a skin. You know how much damn work it takes to make that? That's one of the things that takes the most work to do. You know what I mean? And no one sees the value in that, right? Like it's one of those underappreciated things that happens out there. No, skins are not easy. And if you think you are, give it a shot. I welcome it and see what you bring to the table. But skins are
with the slander tonight.
No, I'm serious because people don't understand until they try, right? Like,
that's another thing too.
To be honest with you,
the DLC for Hardline had some of the best maps of all time. Out of damn near all the.
I heard you say that. The way they flowed and played and stuff like that.
They really tried to go out their way to really go in on that game. The beginning of the game, I could see where people complained, stuff like that. But when they added the DLC maps,
didn't you say like you get like a pickup truck and you get the good old boys in the back and
you could do it. They had a crazy map that was in a museum. They had a map that was in Alcatraz. They had this crazy map that was kind of like in a trailer park, and it was just they had really cool maps, and the things that people could do with just the open world aspect of it, man. I don't know. I still love Hardline. Every once in a while I'll go in and there's still people playing it, believe it or not. But
yeah,
I think that's a good. I don't know. I just think that I have a strong feeling that what Xbox is going to try to bring to the table, I think that they're just trying to go all out, and I think EA might be. Maybe like, hey, look, man, we just got to be a little bit more cautious bringing in Battlefield this time. I know a lot of people want to be anticipating it, but
hey, Blue Shell, serious question. He says one of the worst pizzas is one of your worst $5 pizzas. For a $5 pizza, is it the worst pizza?
They're like $8 now. They're like $8.
$8.
Yeah, they're like $8.
That's if you
get. And if you want to get the 3-meat treat, it's like 10.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you go off the beaten path, they start tacking it on in regards to that. But
I don't know, Blue Shell.
Cheese and pepperoni.
Okay, yeah. See now, if you say Pizza Hut, now Pizza Hut is falling off. Pizza Hut is not the same.
Are they still around?
Yeah, Pizza Hut is huge out here. So
Oh,
Um,
all I know is
but I will tell you this:
I grew up with Domino's and then Noid. I don't know if people remember that stuff.
Domino's is decent. It's now that sauce give me heartburn. I'm too old for Domino's. Anyway, but I will say this though, because I've been telling you this for about 2 months now about getting started to start with the dietitian and all that stuff. So now we're really getting to it. We're close. So decided that I was going to have um, pizza for the last time, and so I was like, okay, there's this place that serves New York style pizza, and so I had me some. It was very delicious. I'm going to miss pizza for a very long time.
You know,
So
one of the
gotta
things I like to do, and I think I'll help you out with the dietitian stuff later. You can do some good flatbread with the dietitian.
Oh no, I
stuff.
gotta stay. I gotta stay away from bread. I gotta stay away from.
Well,
I gotta stay away
the
from.
point of flatbread is it's very little. Anyways,
Oh really?
I'll explain it. Yeah, I've you know my wife's
Why
background.
every
So.
week we gotta look at the same gameplay? Where's my
Man,
gameplay?
I got your gameplay. I need to chop it up. That's the next thing. We got some notifications. We got some cool stuff coming, man. Oh man,
Every week I gotta see you having these few little wins on me, man. What's the
Yeah.
problem here?
I'm just gonna put that on loop next time for you.
Oh man.
Do you have any wins against me on the gameplay you submitted?
I know it's because I mean,
I didn't know if you cherry picked or not. That's why I asked.
No, you and Xbot, y'all are bad. Xbot will show that same one fight that we had at Killer Instinct every week, like mercy. But anyway.
Yeah, well,
Oh man.
yeah, you had to do what
Yeah,
he can because he couldn't win against Mud Runners.
Yeah, you're right. I did duck, and that's crazy. So, but I'll drive you to life. I'll take.
No, there's no doubt about that. You would take me in a real truck.
Oh, yeah. So
I'll be just moving the sticker shift around and find. That's a gear that goes there, right? Yeah.
You can burn the engine out anyway. Burn
Pretty
the
much,
clutch
yeah.
out. Oh man! All right. So okay. So basically, going back into Game Pass, I wanted to talk about the games that's coming out. Right, that's coming out here pretty soon.
Okay.
They have a Zombie Army, Dead War 4, NHL 21, The Show 21, GTA 5, Disneyland Adventures, Rain on Your Parade, and Pathway. So these are the new games that's coming over. Now this one game, the Zombie Army Dead Wars 4, I've been wanting to play that game for a minute. I was kind of like, man, the price. They had a sale one time, but it was like
I don't think I've ever paid attention what that is. I may have to go look at it.
It's kind of like it's a co-op shooter, but you're shooting zombies. But it looked really really good. So like I'm pretty excited about that game coming over.
Okay,
The question
gotcha.
is, with everything else that we're talking about with Game Pass, do you what? How is it that Game Pass has gotten to this point when people thought that this is a service that was hurting the industry? How is it that there's so many other, developers and game companies and publishers that's deciding that, look, I want to put my game on Game Pass? What is the secret sauce of why people are attracted?
I don't think it's just one business model. That's the thing. Microsoft has been flexible with developers in trying to find what's going to work for them and Microsoft at the same time, right? Like they're not looking at it just to win for themselves. They're looking at it for a mutual win for everybody, right? And because I think Microsoft understands the importance of publishers and studios making money. Because if they don't, then that's missed revenue for future games down the road. So they want them to be successful across the board, and so everything is across the board. They're just not being so rigid and trying to find the different business models. And that's something I've noticed about Microsoft going into this generation. Microsoft is going into the Xbox One generation, regardless of all the missteps. They're looking at trying to figure out business models throughout their whole, even with their first party stuff, that works in different ways for different types of games, right? Sometimes the $70 business model game or $60 game just doesn't work for every game. You know what I mean? And I think those days are come and gone. Like now, people talk about games. Do people really say all my games are going to be $60? It just doesn't happen all the time. You know what I mean? So.
No, I mean that's a great point. I think it's what we've both talked about is that look, the gaming industry is completely changing, and
Yeah.
it's and I think I've said this for the last probably month. Um, Not only here but GRG as well is that look, gaming is going to look so much different by the end of this generation. I mean, hell, it might be completely upside down by the mid gen of
Oh
this
yeah.
generation.
Just
That
from the quality of the graphics you guys are gonna get,
right,
from
right.
smaller guys like myself. Like literally about a year ago, my whole entire pipeline changed in my game. And there's a lot of stuff that I had to start from scratch and stuff like that. But level designs and stuff like that stay the same. Still working through the mechanics of everything and all the other laundry list of stuff I got to do. But the whole entire pipeline from the visual side of things completely changed not because I wasn't able to create better visuals. It's just because there's just no way I could do the visuals I wanted to in the time frame that I wanted to as me as an individual, right? And now with Quixel and some of these other tools, I'm able to do the same fidelity, the same quality, the same techniques, but I'm able to save myself so much time. The way the new Unreal is going to be working, it's probably going to be delayed. I'm going to say that, but the new Unreal Engine stuff, the way that's going to work out, you can probably see more of that stuff early into next year. You're seeing some of it now. It's just really going to change the way games are made. I mean, look at we're just talking about Outriders. That uses some of the tools that I use. It uses the new, it doesn't use the newest Unreal, but it uses the newest Unreal right now, but not the stuff they showed off last year. And it uses Quixel, some of the tools that I use, and it just shows
That game runs so smooth.
Yeah,
Oh, goodness, man.
it just shows like what's possible, and more and more developers going to have access to that, at very low cost of entry, right? So you can have somebody like me that wants to go rogue and do his own thing, come with totally something unexpected, and that's what this generation is going to bring. It's going to bring the unexpected for sure.
Do you think that there might be a little machine learning in Outriders because the enemy when you get up into a higher tier,
AI is not dumb.
The AI is very smart.
And,
very smart.
And what's interesting is how smart the AI is and still maintaining the same frame rate. So what a lot of people don't understand is AI is really CPU heavy for the most part. There are some workarounds on that sort of stuff, but in general, that usually ties up a lot of CPU resources. Well, you know what also ties up a lot of CPU resources? Higher frame rate. So they have something going on there. I don't know what their sauce is, but they're not stupid. They're not stupid enemies. They're you can push up against a counter and you can use the same technique 3 times over, and sometimes that same technique doesn't work as well as the previous one, right? It's different every time, right? So
today, like the main guy, the little guys that likes to run at you and hit you with their axes.
Yeah.
I've seen something different for the first time when I was going against when I got to tier 8, and they'll separate. They'll run together.
So they won't run in a row. They'll kind of split, like run in a play sort of thing.
And now they'll duck roll. And I'm like, what? I don't remember them doing that. They kind of at first they're kind of like dumb, just run after you and you just fill them with lead. But then now they're doing rolls. They'll split, and I'm like, man. So I can't imagine what they're going to be able to do when it gets to level 10 or higher. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised they're doing. I'm not.
That it was a little machine.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not calling it or anything like that because I don't really know what they're doing behind the scenes. But it's definitely not. It's not unnoticed. Their AI is smart. There's no doubt about it.
Very smart. I like that. I mean, at first I was kind of wondering how will that play out if the computer is really trying to outsmart you like that, and would it be? How much of a challenge would it be? And it's enjoyable because I'm glad that dumb enemies. It's fun to show if you want to show some gameplay and show you kicking ass, but then when you're actually really playing the game, it gives you really thoughts of how to think and how to strategize against your enemy.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
pretty cool.
Definitely has that going on. So we'll keep being sidetracked. What were we talking about?
Oh yeah. My bad. It was basically about game pad strategy, and And then because I wanted to add a little bit more to that, but go ahead if you want to keep
No,
talking about
I think
that.
I think they just have a flexible business model that works
Yeah.
with that, and they're aggressive, right? The reason why they're so aggressive is because they want to be the de facto place that everybody wants to put their games, right? They treat Game Pass just like a platform, just like a console, just like their streaming service. They treat it as a platform, right? That's interconnected with their whole entire ecosystem, and I think that plays into that space, and that makes sense why I haven't been able to find any sort of financials of what's going on with Game Pass, because is that something to participate in the future or not? And the reason why I can't find hard numbers because everybody's got something different going on, and obviously that stuff is locked under super NDA, so I don't want anyone breaking that sort of stuff that are trusted friends in the industries. But it definitely is one of those things. They're not letting off the gas. They're not giving
No.
it. They're not giving it the mixer treatment. Let's say that.
Oh, yeah, but no, they're definitely going really balls to the wall with Game Pass. I'm glad to see it. I mean, because it's something different. I mean, I really I really don't understand where there's people that has this notion that Game Pass is something to take away from game from any type of game. You have options. I can understand if they're forcing you to just only have that. And there's another thing too that I read. I believe Jazz said it, where it was basically um, they have people are buying more games through Game Pass than what a lot of people has been speculating. And then on top of that, I even said in that chat that we're talking about on Twitter today was that just think about even if the people don't buy the games, just think about all the DLC that the people buy with those games.
Yeah.
Because I know I catch myself if there's a game that I'm like, well, I'll wait until the sale goes away, but I still like that game and it has DLC, I'll go ahead and I'll buy that DLC. So it's really I don't know, man.
That pricing
It's
that
Game
price
Pass
of,
is a game.
that price of entry sometimes is the deterrent, right? But
Right,
when you put the game in someone's hands and you're making money off of that through Game Pass, right? And maybe that's the type of person you wouldn't reach out to normally because they weren't going to buy it for $60, but now they're like, man, yeah, maybe I'll spend some money on some DLC. Why not, right?
right,
And once it starts becoming in that frame of mind and that mindset, it does open the gamer's wallet. They feel comfortable, right?
right,
I keep talking about how comfortable these platform providers have to make you feel on the platform. That's the reason why when we talked about with certain games getting removed off stores, that's a negative for the industry. Not just negative for that brand; it's a negative for everybody because it makes people second guess where they're going to spend their money. So it's all about building that consumer confidence in what's going on out there. So they're doing the right things. They're making the moves, and I remember a lot of people giving crap about not having third party support with day and date, and they're only doing with their exclusives, and there's no way they're going to be able to get other people to be on board. But you have to put yourself out there first, show that it works, and then after that, people start trusting it more. And it's not something that was going to happen day and date, right? When they first did Game Pass, it's something Game Pass has to grow, and it's exponentially growing.
right,
And it's not just tied to my console underneath my television. It's tied to my PC. It's tied to if I want to be streaming games. It's tied to a lot of things in regards to that. So those barriers just make it so people want to have that service. Just like Netflix for them, right? Just they just always have it on. They don't think about it. Or let's say Amazon Prime. They always have it. And once they have the service, they don't want to live without it. You know what I mean? And so
right.
that's their goal, and I think it's working for Microsoft. And trust me, there's other people that want to do the same thing Microsoft is doing, but they're putting that pressure on that try to compete,
Right.
try to
And
be a
that's
de facto place. It's a hard business. I mean, look at all the streaming services, and nobody touches Netflix. You know what I mean?
right,
Like
right,
Netflix,
right, right.
you can have Disney Plus, and it's great, and you may like that service better or anything like that, but is it doing the numbers Netflix is? Same thing with HBO Max. HBO has been around forever, right? But is it doing what Netflix is? And people want to be that person that everyone's dependent on, like big business brain, right? Like you want to be on the bottom of that pyramid that everybody above you is dependent on you, and that's how you make your money. So
Right, and that was also the point that I'm glad that you brought up about Netflix. That was the other thing. The other point that Jess was making is that the difference between Xbox is not like Netflix because people are paying into buy. They're buying games. People aren't buying movies off
no,
of Netflix.
no,
They're
it's a little
just renting
different
the
there.
service.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
yeah, that's where there's a big difference, and then that's when I brought up the situation
Well,
about
and that's the reason why dedicated
but then
streaming.
eventually I'm going to have to buy the game because, if I like that game that much to buy the DLC, then I'm going to have to get that game eventually. So
Well, it's
it all pays off,
well,
right?
it's that
So,
vertical integration, right? That they
yeah,
have that Netflix doesn't have. If you get where I'm going with that, so
right, right,
and that's what he's talking about, and it makes sense. They own the platform that people can buy the games on, right? And they tie the discounts to the service, and so if they really like it, and it's not always guaranteed it's going to be permanently always there unless it's a first party, and so all that stuff feeds into stuff, and I think it's it's a smart business model, and it's a free business. I want to say free, but it gives gamers freedom. Does that make sense?
oh yeah,
There's one thing I think with Microsoft's mind switch from beginning of Xbox One generation to like near the tail end of their generation. And really they learned early on, but it took them a while to figure out how to implement it. Is giving gamers freedom to make choices is the best business model you can do to win over
absolutely,
gamers, right? What happens when gamers have to deal with a cutscene? You just took away the control away from them. They hate it, right? So obviously gamers love being in control of things, right? So make them so they're in control of their wallet, they have multiple ways to purchase or obtain products, and they find out what works for them and never take away anything. That's important.
right,
So just as much as Game Pass is definitely a staple or a platform, I think it's just important is they never remove the ability to buy stuff. Does that make
right,
sense? And it's
right,
just important is they always find a means to for a hard copy as they do for digital. They may not make as much on a hard copy. Who cares, right? That's not the point, right? Is you're not taking away from a gamer. You're always giving to the gamer. If that
right.
makes any sense, and
No, that makes
they
perfect
can
sense
totally
because
figure it out. Gamers love that. Like, I mean, I as a gamer, I love that. So
no, I love it as a gamer, and then it also you share the wealth
yeah,
um because MLB is going to be coming over to Xbox. That money is on Game Pass. That money that I was going to buy the game, I went ahead and I bought The Last of Us 2, and I bought another version. I bought the PC version of Horizon Zero Dawn, and then of course there was some other sales, so I bought a couple other games on PlayStation and on PC. But again, that right there, because I was going to get the $89 version of MLB, but I'm like, oh, I could save that money, and then if it comes, however long, if it stays there for a month or 3 months, regardless of how I'll go get my feel of it, and then
yeah.
there'll be a discount, and then
Then
I'll
it
go
builds
ahead
the
and I'll buy
trust,
it.
and you have that good
right,
experience. And when you have that good
right,
experience, it's self feeding, and you remember that good
yes.
experience, and so therefore you're more prone to buy games until I tell you, okay, make a finish a game first before you buy a new one. But like,
Well, I told you I'm done with the buying games
yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes.
Until Near comes out.
Yeah. But you get where I'm going with that, right? Like,
right.
that's where it self feeds, and they're like, they got you, but you're happy about it. Okay, you got me. I'm cool.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that, right? Cool, you got me, right? No one has an issue with that sort of thing. So, yeah, Game Pass I think has definitely a strong future. And I feel like we're going to see another attempt by somebody else, and we'll see where that goes.
Okay, so speaking of that, so this is the last point, and
Sure.
this is the last point to this. Okay, so PlayStation, right? They're starting to add games over to PlayStation now.
Yeah.
So this is what they're bringing. They're bringing
kind of slowly transforming their service to whatever the future model is, right? So
right. But I want you to, I want to kind of get your hear your thoughts on this situation right here. Okay, so they got Avengers coming on PS now. They have Borderlands 3, and they'll and then they'll have another game. I forgot what the other game was. Okay, so but with these games, with Avengers and Borderlands 3, those games are only going to be playable on the PlayStation. And the show is going to be $70. But if you want to play it on, oh, it's going to be $70 on the PlayStation 5. But if you want to play it on the PlayStation 5 and 4, you're going to have to pay $84.99.
Oof.
So they have to change. They have to change the model.
Well, I think
They got to-
the
they
free
have
market's
to
going to
change.
dictate that, right? Like,
Right.
if it doesn't fly, and regardless of the loud voices out there in the social sphere, that really doesn't matter. It is gamers going to look at that and say, "Man, I'm not down with this," and it's the silent people that walk away are the ones you got to be really worried about, right? Because you don't see it coming. Like, they don't want to be
Right.
that person in the room, in regards to that, and that's when those sort of people, they like don't even think about it. It's not even a boycott. They like, just, you know what? It's not worth my time. I'm not going to even give it a second thought. I'm done. I moved on. Right? Those are the people you have to worry about, and then they feel like that's what they have to do to be profitable. That's their choice. But you got to keep in mind, if you're not flexible, and your competition is just more affordable on different platforms,
Right.
you just gotta see where that goes with that. So we'll see what happens. If gamers are happy buying it, and consuming it that way, it's not my place to tell them not to be happy. I say go for it, have
No,
fun. But there's going to be some other
but only
gamers
being
that are not
locked.
going to.
But you're playing. But this is the thing that
Yeah.
bothers me out of this. There's a great list of games, but why is it only you want me to pay into this service? But
Mhm.
you're telling me if I have a PlayStation 5, I won't be able to access these games. They're only playable on the PlayStation 4. And 9 times out of 10, there's going to be most people that's already traded their PlayStation 4 to get a PlayStation 5 if they had the opportunity to get one.
Well,
So
it's what the thing is
that just
too
don't
is when it has
make
to be
any sense.
explained, and you have to read it to figure out what's going
Yeah.
on.
Right.
And I think a lot of times you lose an audience, right? Like, they
Right.
have to streamline the experience in some sort of way, and take the financials out of the situation. Just streamline it and make it easier for people to understand, right? If this is a weird case by case basis on what platforms you can play at one particular game that's cross generational, then yeah, you're making it confusing for the customer, right? Like, they're only going to spend so much time to try to figure it out, and then they move on to something else or to your competition. So that's when you take the money out of the equation. Then once you add the money, obviously, gamers are not stupid. In regards to that, they know what the value of a dollar is. I mean, so yeah, I don't know, but if gamers are happy with it, I'm not there to tell them not to be.
I don't. I
Of
don't.
course, so.
I've seen a lot of rumblings. I've seen a lot of stuff, even from the gaming media. I mean, Tataku posted something really messy. I don't even know. I mean, we
Yeah.
talked about Tataku the last episode, and
I'm actually
um,
shocked they're still around, to be honest with you.
but they, and I'm not even gonna. And even though I thought the picture of it was funny because they showed they were showing the Avengers, but they put on Iron Man's head a really funny looking character's head and showing Outriders. And then they were explaining about this situation, and I got I get the point, but again, I didn't like it when they were going out there being slanderous against Xbox. And I don't like it when they do it against PlayStation like that. I know that for a lot of Xbox gamers, they feel like this is the chickens are coming home to roost pretty much. But again, the media still has to stay still has to stay neutral, in
Well,
my opinion.
yeah, well, they
Just
should
do the
be, but the thing
right,
is,
right.
they know if they do something controversial, that doesn't become one story; it
Split.
becomes multiple
Right,
stories, right? And becomes
right, right.
something that's trending, and that's the part that's rotting the gaming media from the inside out. I personally think, put the information out there, let the gamers decipher what they want to decipher from the facts,
Right.
in regards to that. So, I don't
I
know.
mean, because it's bad enough. I mean, you just come out and you just write the article. Avengers, these games is going to be on PlayStation now. They're only going to be available on one version of the PlayStation, which is the PlayStation 4. And then if you want to get a copy of the show, it's going to be and you want to play it on both the on the PlayStation on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 is going to be $84.99. And let me also add, it's the same way for the Xbox. So if you decided that you wanted to buy the show, it's going to be the same price for you to play it on your Xbox One and your Series X. So it's not excluded, but the thing that makes it so ugly is because it is on Game Pass, and that's going to just and if for
It
people who
gives
have
a
been
contrast,
yeah,
an alternative.
and so it
Yeah,
just
so
makes it
yeah,
so
it
so and there's no like, well, it's on Game Pass, but it's only going to be played on the Xbox One. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's
yeah.
like, how is a game that's been primarily on PlayStation this whole time finally goes out and becomes a multiplat, and then the competition gets the
Uh,
better bit of the deal.
uh,
So it's like, it's kind of crazy. Yeah.
yeah, well, it's
So
one of those things like that. Obviously didn't see it coming.
no,
In
no.
regards to that, and got him. Now, what are you gonna do going
Yeah, I
forward,
mean,
right? Like that's the
right.
thing. What are you
That's
gonna
what I'm
do
saying.
going?
They have to do something. They have
Yeah,
to.
and here's the thing. But if it doesn't affect their sales in any sort of way, I guarantee you they won't change it, right? So, it just, and I don't think it's like, hey, boycott them or anything like that. Like, that's not how this works, right?
No.
It's more of a natural thing that forces these game companies to change the way they look at these business models, where it's a little more natural. Like, hey, no one's saying shit, but it's not moving the numbers we need. Okay, what's
Yeah,
going
no.
on? What is going on out there, right? It
Yeah.
creates less of that heels in the dirt sort of thing, where they're not willing to look at the whole story. They're like, okay, this is now obviously a threat because this is the X factor, right? And so they'll make changes. They make changes accordingly. And so it's not a wish Sony to fail. I wish Sony to be very successful. But I also wish them to be very successful, to reach out to the customers in the best possible way that makes them feel happy about what they purchased through them, and vice versa, so they have that lasting impression. So they continue to do well, and they continue to put pressure on other gaming companies. In regards to that, I want every company to put pressure on it. It is the balance of consoles and what's going on out there. So
Right. I just feel like, for the people who were very vocal, um, saying that they were trying to help out Xbox, um, I think that they might need to take that energy in now for letting Sony guys out, because obviously, if don't say anything, then these type of things are going to happen. Because look, Sony's going to do what they have to do to make money, profit. So this is fine, like you said. Then, I mean, they have this option, but I just feel, as a gamer and person who purchased consoles, I'm like, I want to support, and I'm going to continue to support Sony, but things like this, I can't get down with that. That to me is just gross. I don't
I
like the
mean,
whole $70 getting the
that's
$70 games
that's your wallet,
either.
though,
But
right? Like, that's the whole
right,
point,
right,
right?
right,
Like,
and that's why,
that's
yeah.
no one
So
else's business except for you, right? And
right,
that's something to drive home, in regards to that. So it's your business, and what you do with your dollar, it totally makes sense. That's why I said I'll never tell a gamer where to spend the money or how to spend their money. That's up to them.
right,
As an industry, people in the industry's job, and this is not something that I do, right? But the people that watch the pockets, their job is to figure out financially, how do we reach out to people, right? And financially, how do we keep them around? And financially, how do we keep those customers happy with us? And so that's, I'm glad that's not my job. Like, I'd rather do the creative stuff. You know what I mean?
yeah, it would
Yeah,
be definitely tough. Yeah,
the
definitely
dollar
tough,
stuff,
definitely
like,
tough.
oof. I've been in a couple meetings in other industries where the dollar conversations came up, and man, it was very uncomfortable. I will say that. So,
Mm,
really
yeah,
uncomfortable.
no doubt. So, well, you got to give Sarah Bond a lot of credit for her uh,
Oh
working
yeah,
and
because she's
doing on
leading
Game
up Game
Pass.
Pass, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
her kind of like, she has the torch and she's running with it, if I remember correctly. So
yeah, yeah. She's doing a fantastic. So, all right, man. That was it. That was the last topic. So, I
yeah,
mean, that was a
that's
great
awesome.
discussion. Yeah, it was really fun, really fun. You know what I'm saying? Got a little sad, a little downer. We're talking about E3, but then we talked about, the greatness of GameStop in the old days.
Yeah,
So,
there's something to look forward to.
anyway,
Maybe we'll do the Dawn's E3 barbecue in Utah. Maybe we'll make that the hub if E3 never comes back. You know what I mean?
As
So
long as I can ride on the yak, I'll be fine.
you want to ride on the yak and
Yeah,
blowing the horn.
yeah. Hold on the horn, just hop on, or just grab some fur. Anyway. All right, Don, where can they find you at, man?
And this is if I'm ever doing anything or on a whim, it's here on Twitch. But you can follow me on. You type in the Don_KTR almost at any platform now. I'm starting to slowly become everywhere. In regards to that, Instagram, the Twitters, the Facebooks. I try to provide links on all those different things, the YouTubes and stuff like that. And now that I got almost everything done for the Devin the Gamer, now my energy is going to go back into the YouTube channel before summer hits. Hopefully much sooner than that, but that's my hard deadline I'm giving myself to get things up and rolling again. So so just check me out on either one of those things, and who knows, I just randomly will drop stuff. That's just how it goes. So
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let me go ahead and read this from the Blue Shell.
okay, cool.
He said, Sony has a loyal fan base. They don't have to do anything for one. However, the situation should not be times market catching. Is probably sadly so.
Okay. Yeah, you're turning your head to your left and you were cutting out by every other word.
Sorry. I heard
you have to get that gangster lean going on that headset.
Yeah, I heard a crazy noise, so I was like, "What the hell is that?" So I'm sorry, but but no, he pretty much was basically saying, he said, however, the situation should not be repeated multiple times to avoid the casual market catching on. This is what corporate is probably thinking, sadly. So but there are people out there I know that's working at Sony that pays attention to live streams and
they do.
to their audience.
They do. Maybe not to the same. Not to the same. Like like you take the major three, like Nintendo. You can take Microsoft. You can take Sony. They all listen to different degrees. Definitely for sure, and you can see it in the output of their product, and in what's going on out there, and if it's resonating with their fan base. From a genuine level, not like just a argue to argue sort of level, like from a genuine, hey, I'm happy with the product sort of level. Right. In regards to that,
and there's a lot of people in their fan base that don't want them to do the they will tell you that they don't want that model, but when you listen to people who don't do or aren't content creators, they love the Game Pass idea for PlayStation.
Well,
so
we talked about
it's
that.
One of those things. Who has the loudest voice? I guess.
We would talk about the lost gamer thing, right? That's a concern for me. Like for these platform providers, there's the people that just don't follow you from generation to generation, and you have to. It's silly to try to earn those customers back, right? You should have a way for them to always come back. A path back to gaming with you on you as a platform, and I don't think so. The answer is not just, hey, Sony, do what Microsoft's doing. If they come up with something creative on their own, I want to see that, and I think that's going to be a good thing in the industry. More creative ways to reach out to consumers is always a good idea, in regards to that. And guess what? It comes down to the same business model of, never taking away options from gamers. Gamers hate it when you take away the control, right? So that's the number one thing all these platform providers got to keep in mind, whatever they come and bring to the table. But that being said, so we're wrapping it up here. Is that what's going on?
Yeah, we're done.
Okay,
we're
cool.
Done.
Well, that being said, you do all your outros. I'm going to find somebody that we're going to host here.
Okay.
And everyone, spread the love. Be cool.
Fan on and it was blowing up. And I was like, oh, my nose is itching. But anyway, catch me on Friday nights, the podcast every Friday night, 8 p.m. Central. I post it on Twitch as well, and on YouTube. Thursday night on the next podcast. That's on my boys Xbox 44H channel. Definitely do that. Last couple of weeks, I have not done Fight Night Sundays on Twitch. I apologize for that. We will definitely be in full effect next Sunday. I got my second COVID shot. Got a little sick. But snapped out of that. So please go get your COVID shots if you are scared about that. Also, and then it was Easter last week. So, as a person, it's kind of weird. I do believe in the resurrection, but I don't trip out of people that don't believe or don't care. That's your opinion. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I just want to play some games, have a good time. So, but as for me, I looked at it and I was just like, hey, you know what? I'm just gonna just join Don. I was full. I was about to go to sleep, and I'm like, I'm not going to sleep in belly, so I'm gonna go ahead and play some Outriders with Don, and then go ahead and not even stream, just support my boy, and then so yeah, sir, that it is what it is. So
right,
I will definitely be back at doing that.
All right, guys. So if you can also do and I know this is a big ask. The person we're about to host, he is so close to being affiliate. So follow, subscribe, hang out for a bit. We're trying to push him over that 3 threshold in regards to that. K Megan knows this guy. We're gonna hit up Core. We're gonna hook him up. I didn't know Core was playing. So let's give him some numbers. Let's get him over that edge, and let's hit him up here. So wait a second.
Yeah, help him out. You know what? I will definitely be streaming tomorrow. I might play. I'm definitely going to be playing some Outriders tonight.
Oh, you got 6 seconds, man. Get it out. Get it out.
So I got it out. Everybody have a good one.
Out.
Thank you. Have a good one. Till the next show. Peace.